What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video on Fantasy Football Scout. Today it's Transfer Watch. So as always, going to look through two key players being brought, two key players being sold quite heavily in the market. We didn't do this video last week because we put out some different content for the international break, but we're back into the swing of things now. And there's been a lot of transfers made. So let's jump into it with the first player. So let's start off with Kevin De Bruyne, already sold this week or this game week by 294,470 FPL managers. Perhaps not surprisingly, right? Got that 13-pointer against Leeds in the opening game for City, which was in game week 2. But then people captained him against Leicester and against Leeds. And because it hasn't paid off, people have probably got frustrated. I think if you didn't captain him, you're probably a little bit less frustrated. Now, obviously, another move that a lot of people have done as well is Kevin De Bruyne to Son. Now, whether that's a good move or not is up for debate, right? So this week, Son's obviously playing West Ham. Looks like a really good fixture for captaincy. But West Ham defensively have actually been doing pretty well. And it depends how much emphasis you put on kind of 2 to 3 to 4 game weeks worth of data as to whether West Ham are now a solid defensive team. But ultimately, we've seen a lot of people comment on how, Son got a lot of his points from Southampton and Man United, both playing high lines, was able to get in behind. West Ham going to defend a little bit deeper. I don't think bringing Son into your team is a bad move. I'm not sure whether doing De Bruyne to Son is going to work out that well for a lot of people, especially if you're taking hits and stuff like that, right? So De Bruyne hasn't done well. The couple of things that would worry me is there was some rumours when he came off during the international break that maybe he's injured. To be honest, I've not seen any of that, so I don't think that's true. And obviously, we do see a lot of international break injuries where they're not really injuries, but we'll have to see what happens. We've got till the end of the week to find that out. Obviously, if he is injured, you get rid of him. The one thing for me, as a De Bruyne owner, that I really want to see is Aguero get back. He's back in training. Now, how quickly he's going to be able to just come back and keep playing, I don't know. Like week in, week out, he's probably going to have to get up to a good level of fitness. And obviously, Jesus as well. I do think they're missing a number 9, but it could have been a lot different in that Leeds game. The first 20 minutes, Man City were kind of all over them. They weren't able to get that second goal, and then Leeds really came back into it. So with Kevin De Bruyne, I think the one thing to kind of think about is he's never going to be scoring as many goals as the likes of Sterling from open play. One of the reasons we all own him is because of penalties, right? And he's not had too many over the last couple of games, obviously, but that could change over the coming weeks. The one thing that kind of worries me a little bit is his assist record. So obviously he was the top scoring player last year, but his expected assists kind of doubled, right? So his output per 90 minutes doubled compared to kind of previous seasons, which is was a pretty incredible season. But how easily can he keep that up? So for me, I feel like without the penalties, he suddenly looks like a lot of money. If he gets a few penalties over the next few weeks, then it's probably not an issue. But I don't think I'd be selling ahead of Arsenal high and West Ham away. I think there are a couple of good fixtures. I've still got the captain's armband on him this week. Obviously, Partey coming in for Arsenal, could make them stronger. Might be a bit more difficult for De Bruyne. But ultimately, I think it's a little bit premature to be transferring him out. Even if you're going for Son, that could work out because Son's fixture is obviously very good, but so are De Bruyne's for the next two. So I don't think it's a transfer that has to be made right now. So have 294,000 people made a mistake? Potentially, yes. Not really surprising that Chilwell has been transferred in by 458,727 FPL managers already. You can't just get an 18-pointer in your first game week of the season and not be transferred in a lot, right? So there's a bit of knee-jerking going on here. Maybe people weren't considering Chelsea defence. Now he's scored 18 points. They really want to get him in. I've kind of talked about Chelsea a lot, mostly pre-season, and obviously with Werner and stuff as well since the season's begun. But from a defensive point of view, their underlying numbers last year were really good. In terms of expected goals conceded, they were one of the best defences. The problem they had was Kepa was in goal, and he had an awful season. He was one of the worst keepers for saving expected goals, basically. So he was always a worry, and when Mendy came in, it looked promising. Now Chilwell's fit and he's been able to start. That looks promising as well. And also, if you want to get into the Chelsea backline, there's not many more players that are probably going to be nailed on, like Chilwell. You've got Thiago Silva, potentially. We've already seen Christensen play next to him, then Zuma play next to him. Zuma, by the way, already got 2 goals. So you want to talk about attacking threat, he's not doing too badly. But ultimately, the right-hand side as well, Reece James, we've seen him in the team, then he's out of the team for Azpilicueta. And Azpilicueta has played so many minutes over the last few seasons, you'd imagine that he's going to keep getting time in that team as well. So suddenly, the left-back spot, well, we know Alonso's not really a favourite when it comes to defensive duties. Chilwell could have that spot nailed down, and he's good going forward, and he's on some set pieces, although I will say, when Ziyech is back, he's probably going to take them over. Like, if you didn't see his assist from a free kick in the international break, it was pretty damn good. So I don't see Chilwell taking all set pieces like he may have done in that game, especially from corners and stuff like that. But I still think he's a good option if you think Chelsea can turn around, because their goals conceded last year were really bad. In terms of expected goals conceded, they were really good. So if you think those numbers can translate into this season, he's going to pick up clean sheets, he's going to pick up attacking returns, and I do like him. The only thing I would say, if you've not already transferred him in, is Mendy is obviously the key in goal as well. You don't really want Kepa in if you own a Chelsea defender, and he has come back from the international break with an injury. How long he's out for, we don't really know yet. A lot of this we're not going to find out until press conferences, so it's probably worth waiting if you can until then. But if Mendy is back, Chilwell looks like a great option. 5.6 million, I think the fixtures are decent enough. And also, if you're playing a strategy where you don't want to change your defenders too much, like use transfers on them, he's probably a set and forget. It seems as though we're forever going to be talking about Timo Werner. 344,410 managers have now transferred him out this week again. He's fallen down to 9.3 million. Still yet to get a goal in 4 game weeks in FPL. 1 assist. It's just not good enough for that price. Now, the thing everyone's talking about is the high line for Southampton, how they might get in behind. That could be good for him. And to be fair, I've watched quite a few Chelsea games already this season, and you do see him constantly looking to make runs. Like, he's always on the shoulder of a defender. He's ready to make a run. He's just not being picked out. And I wonder if the likes of Ziyech, Pulisic, etc. will make that better for him. The problem is, I keep saying that when Ziyech is back, when Pulisic is back, when it clicks, when they've got their first 11, it's a lot of excuses to be made for someone that's 9.3 million. If you've got other transfers to make this week and you've already ridden out 2 price drops, then yeah, potentially you could keep him for Southampton. What if he blanks again? Then it's Man United. Well, Man United have been playing bad. He can play on the shoulder. They've got Ziyech, they've got Pulisic. It's constantly making excuses for a player that should be doing way better for 9.3 million. So I can see why people have transferred him out. I transferred him out last week. Is there going to be a situation where he goes on a run, he's going to be worth 9.3 million? Absolutely. But there's also plenty of other players that are doing that right now, and potentially for cheaper prices as well, which is the main concern. And something I told myself pre-season is if I was having to kind of justify a transfer, like sometimes you might say, look, Son's overperformed, but the fixtures are so good, I'd expect him to keep that up. That's not really a justification. If you're trying to justify Werner, or this is what I told myself pre-season for any player, if I was trying to justify it, like make too many reasons up why he's probably a good hold, that's probably in the back of my mind telling me actually he's probably not. I need Pulisic, I need Ziyech, I need the first 11, I need him to play on the left, I need him to play central, I need him to play against a team with a high line. It's lots of reasons to justify keeping a player, whereas I would think 9.3 million, he should be banging in goals for me. Now, like I said, it's not like he's going to go the whole season and be a bad option. It's just whether you think Southampton and then Man United is the time to keep him. Like 9.3 million, he's more expensive than Son. So if you've got 2 free transfers, for example, you could, and you're playing 3-4-3, you could switch to a 3-5-2, bring Brewster in, get Son in. I think for me right now, that would be the better option. Yes, if Southampton play a high line, he could be a good option. Yes, if Pulisic and Ziyech are back, he might play central. That might help him out as well. But right now, it's a lot of things we're waiting to click into place. And 9.3 million is a lot of money to have in your team not doing very much. So I think 344,000, I can see it. I can see why you've done it. And I think fair enough. I don't think he's a must sell because it is an okay fixture this week. But it's definitely better things you could be doing with your money. James Rodriguez has been transferred in by over 500,000 managers already. 567,820. As he shows in the picture, scoring 2 goals last week and getting an assist as well. So it's a pretty big score from him. First of all, if you've not already transferred him in, one thing I would say is Ancelotti's already said that he's playing for Colombia very close to the deadline. There's no guarantee that he'll be available for that match, which I think is on Saturday. So that would worry me a little bit if I've not already brought him in. And he's gone up to 7.8 million, which one thing I would say is, or one thing I'm trying not to do this season, is saying that a player is not worth it just because they've gone up in price. There's a tendency sometimes for managers, and I fully include myself in this. If you see a player that was like 7 or 7.5, for example, and then you didn't get on them at the time, they go up to 7.8. It's like, oh, I don't want to buy them. The 7.8 million, if you can keep this up, is still really good, like really good value. And he is creating lots of chances as well. He's not an assisted type. He's on some set pieces too. We saw him get into the box in the last game, scoring those goals. Not saying that's going to happen every time. It was a pretty good match for Everton against Brighton to get those goals. And on the back post, like he's very rare he's going to get 2 chances like that where they're so easy to score. But he is getting into the right positions. He is getting into the box. Not having a huge amount of shots in the box, but I still think his assist potential for that price is decent. And he will tick over. Difficult match this week potentially against Liverpool, though we just saw Villa smash them 7-2, so you never know. And after that, the fixtures are quite good until about game week 10. So I do think you can hold him maybe into the short, medium term. Of 7.8 million is still a good price. But if I hadn't already transferred him in, that Colombia game having to go and play so late, that would worry me. And the fact it's against Liverpool, I'd probably just give it a week more to bring him in. And also, 7.8 is good value, but let's not forget, Grealish looking really good. He's cheaper. Harvey Barnes could be an option, although Leicester's fixtures really do turn soon. So in the kind of 7 to 8 million, he probably is still one of the best players. And I think overall, for the next few weeks, I think 567,000 people or managers have made a good decision. But when you factor in the fact it's Liverpool, he might not even start, that would worry me a bit. And I definitely don't think until we hear from Ancelotti again, there's any rush to bring him in this week. So that is it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about the players that I've picked out. Are people right to be transferring in the likes of Chilwell, James Rodriguez? Have you had enough with Werner? Have you already got rid of him? Are you still thinking about it? Leave me a comment below and hit that like button if you've enjoyed it. Much appreciated. The support really does help out the channel. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Loads more content to come this week. There's Captaincy Scoutcast tomorrow. We've got Gianni's team selection. We've got points prediction, team news, breakfast club. So hit that notification bell so you know when all that is going live. Otherwise, I'll leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again soon.